So to use a Google font, you first have to select the Google font and get the coding for it. Now, Google Fonts is not the only web-based fonts out there. They're just some of the most common ones. And you can search for different, categories of fonts, and you can pair things together and get them all at once. I'm just going to go with Roboto here for an example. When I click on Roboto, I have different styles I can grab. There are so many styles of fonts sometimes, and you may want to use all of them just to create variants and maybe utilize headings versus text and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to select every single style of Roboto so I can utilize all of them inside my website, whether I want to use a bold, bold italic, black, light, thin, any of those. And you're going to see that the selected family is going to kind of start populating over here, and I'm going to list all of these. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move myself a little bit here. And what's most important then at this point is this use on the web part. This is where you get the link to be able to embed this font. So if we go into Dreamweaver here, I'm on my foods website in my index.html. So if you don't have that open, go ahead and navigate up here to your foods site, open up your index, and make sure you're on your food preferences site. What we're going to do is we're going to embed fonts. Now, is that something that needs to be seen on the body where it's on the page, or is that something that's going to manifest on the page? It's something that's going to manifest, so it's going to sit up in the head tag. So I'm going to go below my link for my style sheet here. I'm going to backspace out to be at the margin, and I'm going to go back to my Google font, and you can see that it's giving you a link as well. And it even says to embed a font, copy the code into the head of your HTML. So it's telling you where to go and use it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this code, this whole link right here. Notice it's a link of a pre-connection. So essentially it's saying to the computer, before you load this site, you need to pre-connect to this site and grab these fonts so you can utilize them to load the site we're looking at. And it's also finding all the different fonts with a style sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm then going to go to Dreamweaver and I'm going to go into the head and I'm going to paste it. I'm then going to go File, Save, and then I haven't used it yet. Like all of this is still defaulted. So to use it, it says, if I scroll down, CSS rules to specify families, I would add a font family. So I'm going to add a font family of Roboto and sans serif. So I'm going to copy that code, and that's a value and property declaration for CSS. So I'm going to go into my CSS, and if I want my whole page, the whole thing, no matter what goes on it, to use the Roboto font, where would I put this font family? If I want the whole page to use it, if I think about my source code, the body is my whole page. So if I put it in my body declaration, I can then apply it to everything inside of there. So I'm going to go down to my body, and I'm going to go ahead and go after the background color, but inside the squiggly brackets, and go ahead and apply it, and you will see it will apply. Now, what's important is I've just done this on my style sheet, but if I open up, for instance, my favorite food, you're going to see that surprisingly, it's still working, which is really great, even though the link is not there up in the head of this page. Now, to be consistent and to make sure that everything works correctly on every single page of our website, I'm going to open up each page, and I'm going to take that link at the top of the index source code, those two links I brought in from Google, and I'm going to paste those underneath the style sheet on each one of these, just to make sure, no matter what, that pre-connection is occurring and that the font is going to load for every single page. So again, thinking back to when we created our index originally, wouldn't it have been nice if we had not only our link for our style sheet on our template, but also the link for any fonts we wanted to bring in from Google, and we had that all in there, so when we went to File, Save As, we could then have everything as once instead of having to copy and paste it to each of our pages. So as you're creating your next site, make sure your index has everything you want it to be: fonts, style sheet, coloring, links, coding, all of those things, pictures that you want to appear on every page, so that way it looks consistent across all your pages and you don't have to keep copying and pasting to all of them. So I'm gonna go File, Save All, and all of my pages have been saved, and I've now utilized a Google font.